peace. If you're someone who takes an insult straight to the face, harsh criticism, public humiliation, a direct personal attack, and your face simply doesn't move, you've probably heard this before, that you're cold, arrogant, robotic, that something inside you's broken because a normal person would have reacted. Let me paint a picture for you. Someone attacks you, a harsh word, carefully chosen to hurt, in public, with an audience. And what happens? The atmosphere gets tense, everyone turns your way waiting, but you take a breath. Maybe you give a slight smile, or you just keep doing whatever you were doing. And suddenly, you're the weird one, the insensitive one, the arrogant person acting like they're better than everyone else, like you have no heart. But there's a truth that no one tells you. This quietness you carry, this ability to take sharp criticism without falling apart, isn't coldness. It's not a lack of emotion, and it's definitely not a manufacturing defect. Psychology has a name for what's going on inside you, and it's not what most people imagine. You are not broken. And I'm going to prove it, because carrying this cold label for years leaves a mark in relationships, in the way you start doubting yourself, in the silent question that lingers, is there something wrong with me? Should I be feeling more? No. And science is very clear about this. In 1994, a neuroscientist named Dr. Stephen Porges published something that forever changed how we understand the human nervous system. He called it the polyvagal theory. And what this means in practice is simple. Your autonomic nervous system operates in 3 states, a hierarchy of responses that your body automatically uses depending on how much danger it perceives around you. At the base of this hierarchy is dorsal collapse, the state of shutdown and withdrawal. In the middle, the sympathetic state of fight or flight. And at the top, the ventral vagal state, calm, social engagement, presence without threat, regulation. When you're in the ventral vagal state, your nervous system literally doesn't interpret a hostile comment as a survival threat. Not because you don't care, but because your physiology has learned one way or another, not to elevate an insult to the level of real danger. Think about that for a second. Most people who see an impassive face in the face of criticism assume there's nothing going on inside. But science says the opposite. What you're seeing isn't a lack of emotion. It's emotional regulation. They are completely different things. But the big plot twist is this. That same face, that same quietness in the face of an insult can come from completely opposite places inside you. And there are 3 different paths that lead to it. There are 3 groups of people who share this exact same calm exterior. 3 groups, 3 completely different origins, but the exact same face when insulted. Let's start with the first. The first group are the people psychologists call internally anchored. These are people with high dispositional self-esteem, not performative arrogance, but a stable internal foundation of self-worth that doesn't depend on external approval. Mark Leary's research showed that people with this trait exhibit a significantly lower cortisol response when facing social rejection. The body literally doesn't go into threat mode in the same way. James Gross, a Stanford psychologist whose research on emotional regulation dates back to 1998, identified a mechanism called cognitive reappraisal. It's the ability to reinterpret a situation before the emotion triggers, not suppressing what you feel, but changing how the brain evaluates the threat in the first place. For these people, when an insult lands, the brain doesn't process it as a threat to their identity. Their assessment of who they are doesn't rely on anyone else's assessment. The insult literally finds nowhere to land. Not because there's a wall blocking it, but because the internal surface is so solid that it just slips off, like water on tempered glass. Not because nothing is there, but because everything is. The second group operates radically differently on the inside, but produces the exact same exterior. These are the emotionally conditioned people. They grew up in environments of chronic criticism, emotional unpredictability, or constant volatility. Early in childhood, their nervous system learned a very clear lesson. Reacting made things worse. Showing emotion was dangerous. Being affected was an invitation for more attacks. So the nervous system did what nervous systems do in the face of repeated threats. It adapted. It created an automatic circuit breaker, a non-reaction response that protected the child from greater consequences. John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth's attachment research mapped how invalidating environments in childhood shape emotional processing in adults. The body learns that emotions are dangerous, and after years and years of reinforcement, the circuit breaker simply doesn't trip anymore. Not as a conscious choice, as automatic survival. It's the quietness of someone who learned it was never worth showing anything. This isn't weakness. It's not manipulation. It's not a character flaw. It's what a nervous system does when it's learned that showing is dangerous. And now, the third group. This is the one nobody expects to find here. The third group are the intentionally regulated people. These people weren't born with calmness. They weren't raised in it. They built it deliberately, piece by piece, through stoicism, through meditation, through therapy, through self-awareness work, through the conscious practice of choosing a response instead of a reaction. Gross documented that cognitive reappraisal isn't just a personality trait. It's a trainable skill. The brain literally changes how it evaluates threats as this practice deepens. Think of it as a muscle specifically trained not to flinch. These people hear an insult, and in milliseconds, their internal processing is different. Not, this is destroying me, but what is this person trying to do? Not, who am I to deserve this? But what does this say about them, not me? Three groups, the same stillness on the outside. Three completely different stories on the inside. So where does your story come from? Because all three of these paths, the foundation, the conditioning, the training, start in the exact same place. They start before you even knew what criticism was. Imagine a different scene. You're 7 years old. You fall on the playground and scrape your knee. What happens next will matter more than anything else. If the adult who shows up validates what you felt, I know it hurts, you're okay, let's take care of it. You learn something fundamental about the world, that your emotions are real, that you can feel something intensely and survive, that your inner world has value regardless of what others think. This is Path A. Bowlby and Ainsworth demonstrated, through the strange situation experiment, one of the most replicated studies in developmental psychology, that a caregiver's consistency in childhood directly predicts sensitivity to social evaluation in adulthood. Children raised with a secure base become adults whose self-esteem doesn't rely on external approval. The insult slides right off because the foundation was built solid. But there is Path B. If what shows up after the fall is criticism, indifference, unpredictability, or emotional volatility, you learn something completely different. That your emotions cause problems, that being affected is a weakness, that the safest way to exist is to show nothing at all. Research on adverse childhood experiences accurately documents how emotionally chaotic environments teach the nervous system to shut down, to not process, to turn off before it hurts too much. And the most striking detail comes now. The exact same stillness, the same impassive face in the face of an insult, in someone raised with unconditional security and in someone raised in emotional chaos. One was built on a foundation. The other was built on walls, and only one of them is truly free. But there's an uncomfortable question that no one asks. Do you not react because the insult genuinely doesn't get to you? Or because you never let anything show anymore? That is the difference between armor and awakening. Armor is the stillness that needs the insult not to matter, because deep down, part of you still feels it. Armor is the circuit breaker that learned not to trip. It's the person who goes home after the insult and ruminates at 2 a.m, who smiles by day and processes in silence by night, who says, that didn't affect me, while their body still carries the tension. Armor works, it protects, but it also blocks, including what you would need to feel in order to grow. Awakening is different. Awakening is the stillness that genuinely isn't threatened, because the self is stable. It's the person who hears the insult, processes it, and it literally finds nowhere to anchor. Not because there is suppression, but because there is integration. The insult doesn't trigger a wound because the foundation is solid, or because the wound has been healed. Here's how you tell the two apart. After the insult happens, what happens inside you over the next few hours? If there is an echo, a silent rumination, a need to resolve it, a lingering discomfort, that is armor. It is valid. It got you this far. But it's not the end of the story. If there's clean processing and then the matter simply ends, that is real regulation. One is built strength. The other is a sign that maybe you need support, not shame. Neither of them is a character flaw. One was the way your nervous system survived. The other was the way it thrived. Armor or awakening, protected or free, only you know. So take this final validation. You are not cold. You are not insensitive. You're not arrogant. You're not a heartless person who simply doesn't care about anything. You are regulated. You are adaptive. You are psychologically coherent, whether because you were built on a solid foundation early on, or because you survived something most people wouldn't survive in the same way, and made it here regardless. That is not damage. That is data. You are not broken. You belong to a quiet group of people who learned, one way or another, not to let other people's words define who they are. There's one thing I want you to do right now. Think about the first time you realized an insult didn't land the way it was supposed to. That very first time, someone threw something your way expecting a reaction, and you simply didn't give it to them. Or you did on the inside, and survived just the same. Leave a comment telling that story. I read every single one. If this resonated with you, subscribe. There's more to come. Protect your peace.